Hello there, welcome to Talking Balearics with me, Martin Makepeace, here in Ibiza.
Me, Richie Pye, on a very dodgy internet by the sound of it, Martin, in Mallorca.
Absolutely. How are you, Rich? Okay?
Yeah, good, mate. Very good, actually. Very good. Looking forward to tomorrow night.
Yeah, big night tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah, have you got your tickets?
Got my tickets.
Yeah, all right, nice. And
Sons, me and my two boys.
to lose, obviously, you're going to the Madrid
Don't
versus
go there with that.
Arsenal
Don't
match.
start,
No,
don't
I'm not going to say that, but I mean, obviously, you can't lose, can you?
Well, we can lose, of course we can, but, I'm hoping we don't, of course, It's a bloody long way to go, a very expensive way to go if we do.
The problem is, Rich, if they get an early goal, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, I know, I agree with that totally.
First 20 minutes.
So
Anyway, we've got a very special guest today. We've got Dwayne Nolan.
How are we doing, guys?
Very well, Dwayne. Great to see you. How are you, mate?
Good to see you. I think this is the first time I've seen you in months and you're only around the corner.
I know, absolutely, mate. It's the Ibiza thing, isn't it? We live very close to each other, but never see each other. I'm going to bring you in today, Dwayne, just to talk about the clubbing because it's the clubbing opening, or clubs are opening in Ibiza very soon, isn't it?
It is indeed. And honestly, I was in my little own world there until someone texted me the other day asking if I was going to Pasha. And I just went, wow, is it that time already? Like, I'm so just not ready for it, but ready at the same time.
Well, listen, we're just going to bang on with the Talking Balearics first, mate. Then we're going to bring you in very shortly. So, Richie, what have you got for me this week?
Well, it's a story that I think both of us are going to cover, Mark. It's about obviously the housing problem in Mallorca. Looks like they've got a deal put together between Vox and PP. Obviously, they're parties that are governing. Well, PP's governing in a minority, but they've put together themselves with Vox, and they're now in a majority. Looks like that's going to go through. It's headlines in the Spanish papers this morning that they've come to a deal where they're going to build about 20,000 homes, but on rustic land, which could cause a few problems, maybe.
So, Richie, this is what we spoke about 3 or 4 weeks ago, wasn't it? When we said there was a big thing in the local press saying assisted housing, and they are going to go on rustic land. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just how they're actually going to be able to do that, obviously, because everybody's very wary of the fact of, sort of, I imagine rustic land is sort of not greenbelt, but do you know what I mean? It's land that people really don't want to be built on because it's rustic, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if that's the only way that actually the housing crisis and everything else can be solved, then it's the only way forward, isn't it, really? I can't really, we've tried, I think we've tried everything else. They will say we'll reduce the number of, hotels, reduce the number of apartments, et cetera, et cetera. But if we want this problem to be done right now, I think that's the only reason you've got to build. Yeah,
well, I mean, there's a massive problem. What I read in the press today, it's the first time I saw it. I sent it over to you this morning. Yeah. What I saw was it's only applicable for towns with populations over 10,000. Yeah.
Okay.
So apparently there's 24 towns in the Balearics which are applicable, which obviously over here, all 4 of our municipalities are applicable apart from San Juan. So that's Ibiza, San Jose, San Antonio and Santa Eulalia here in Ibiza. Those 4 municipalities, they can build apartments on rustic land. But I also read, and this is the crux of the matter, I think, Rich, is that it's down to the actual town hall of the separate towns who have the final say. So it could be a very interesting ride like it always is in the Balearics.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that sort of works out in Ibiza, but I think there are quite a few mayors that are PP here.
Yeah.
If I'm right in saying, I don't know if that is the same in Ibiza, is it?
Yeah, we've got a clean sweep over here, Rich. 5 out of 5.
Okay,
yeah.
So they're obviously all going to go for it, are they?
So I think this is going to be a story that's going to run and run, I think, mate.
I agree. And let's see if the protesters are happy with what the outcome.
Well, I think you said last week and the week before and the week before that and the week before. The problem is we are a victim of our own success. We've got too many residents. We've got too many people who want to live in the Balearics. And what's the solution? Is it put a limit on people coming in, which you can't do? So it's got to be build more houses.
And the reason that people are coming here because obviously as you just said it's a nice place to live, but also the biggest industry is tourism, and that's the industry that feeds pretty much 90% of us. So
99% in Ibiza, Richie.
Well, there you go.
I've just got another story before I bring Dwayne in, actually, Rich. I read today that, we were talking about the car limits on the island as well. Interesting enough, the people who employ the car rental workers are on side with it. I thought they wouldn't be on side with it, but they've come on side today in Ibiza and said, listen, too many cars on the island, too much traffic, we're all in. So it looks like that is gaining some legs, and I think or wheels, should we say? And it looks like it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen this year. They say it's going to happen this year. I've got my doubts, to be honest, because we're talking 6 weeks away before it happens. So, and there's been nothing in the press really, nothing fixed in the press. So that's interesting. That's come on board today as well.
And roughly how many car hire companies of significant numbers are there in Ibiza?
Well, Dwayne, you're a car hire person, aren't you? I mean, do you want to comment on this? I know you do a lot of car hire, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I generally have been using car hires a lot, and more recently, the last couple of months, I've been doing a lot of work with Motor Luis. But I have noticed a massive, as of the last 2 Sundays. I think last Sunday I was driving 2 Sundays ago, I was driving down the road next to nobody on the road. Yeah. And all of a sudden that switch, and I turned to my girlfriend and said, I'm going to have to go back to the scooter because I just can't deal with this traffic. And we're only in April. So I mean, everyone's renting a car. I think before, whenever we would have been, when I was younger doing the season, you never really left San Antonio, or you kind of, now you feel the people who are moving over to do that work, essentially everyone's priority is to get a car. Everyone's looking for a car, and there's no availability to get a car. I think OK Rental were the only sort of solution for long-term rental for many years, but I think they're already fully booked.
Yeah.
Or at least they're saying that on the website.
I think, as we've mentioned previously, it's going to be interesting to see the limits that they put on it, because there's a lot of car hire companies, as Dwayne will attest, and they're going to have they're going to get a number that they can have, and I wonder if it's going to be a lottery for the numbers. So I think it's only going to push prices up, Richie.
Well, my point, asking you about how many car hire companies there were, and you saying that obviously the car hire companies that are agreeing with it, have the sort of bigger ones amongst them already been given the tip off of how many cars they're going to be able to have? They've worked it out themselves and gone, yeah, okay, we can live with that. And is it the small man in the street that's going to get knocked out?
Well, my gut feeling is it's because the big boys will clean up like they normally do because they've got deep pockets, and the small companies, I think if you were a small car hire company at the moment, you'd be very worried, because the allotment for your car hire, I think, will probably go to the bigger companies, won't it? So
yeah. Agreed.
But anyway, let's talk about clubbing in Ibiza, because we've got a very special guest today, Dwayne Muffin, aka Dwayne Nolan, who is a massive YouTuber and a massive online presence here in Ibiza. As we said, it's club opening week. So I know, Richie, you know clubbing more than anybody, don't you? You know?
Oh, mate, listen, I'm all over it, as you can imagine. I mean, you and I are probably the least two people, you know what I mean, that could be talking about clubbing, particularly in Ibiza, to be honest, which is why we brought an expert in.
Yeah. I mean, you know about your clubs, don't you? You've got your 5-wood, you've got your 7-iron, you've got your whatever. But it's club opening week, and to give a bit of background, Dwayne, you've been here how many years?
15 now. Yeah. So I started doing. Well, I kind of based myself all around the clubs. To be honest with you, I've sort of strayed away into enjoying the island life now, trying to get out of not so much getting out of the clubbing scene, but not being that primary every night, 7 days a week inside a club. I couldn't think of anything worse. But
showing your age there.
Yeah, maybe it is an age thing, but I'm starting to really just enjoy Ibiza for what it is, So it's that's the type of content I enjoy making. But obviously, a massive factor is doing the club stuff. It kind of keeps you current. It's going to be an exciting time.
Your Ibiza Club News Instagram page has got 200 and something thousand, hasn't it? So there is a big appetite for the clubs, isn't there, on social media?
100%. And a lot of the videos that I do based on Instagram and TikTok, whatever, YouTube, they still get the highest volume is the clubs thing. So I'm not going to shy away from it or not talk about it. I think Club World in Ibiza it's going to be a very interesting year, with obviously the elephant in the room being UNVRS.
Yeah, I was going to say, because me and Richie have been talking about UNVRS every single week, haven't we, Richie? I think, in fact, people think we're being sponsored by them, but I don't think they're sponsoring anybody apart from Ibiza Airport at the moment. However, Dwayne, just give us an overview of what UNVRS is, what it will become, in your opinion.
Well, they're marketing it as the first ever hyper club in the world. I couldn't tell you exactly what that's going to be, but I think we all know it's going to be on a higher level of what High was in terms of production. You can see that there's going to be essentially a different club net every night. I've noticed the ticket prices for that this week coming up to the opening party has just been launched. The first tier and second tier is already sold out.
Yeah.
Prices are starting from now. The next ticket available is €140. However, that will shortly sell out. And then I think it's the fourth tier is €160. So I think that itself is going to be, I couldn't imagine spending €160 to go to a club night. Across the road is Amnesia. Obviously they've had a massive change up because UNVRS, taking most of their nights away. I think Amnesia have done a great job to fill in the gaps there with the likes of Resistance. Amnesia opening party, ticket price for that is €80. Pasha opening party sold out already. And then obviously you've got Ushuaia coming up with High as well. It'll be interesting to see how UNVRS for me affects High.
Yeah.
Because essentially you're competing for the same market. I don't know where it's going, but it's going to be interesting in the next few weeks.
It's fair to say though that UNVRS has squeezed Amnesia a lot, hasn't it? Yeah, by taking the Amnesia nights, like Jamie Jones has gone there, Elro's gone there, haven't they?
Yeah, Paradise also.
Yeah.
Joseph Capriati's gone across the road to High.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, but I think what Amnesia have done they've kept current, and the nights that they have put in and the artists that they are bringing in will be successful. But will that mean that they'll get pinched again? It's kind of like, I think UNVRS is.
I think Amnesia might be a surprise of this one, to be honest, because I think they'll go more underground, and I mean that in a nice way. When it will be, I always think that Amnesia is the clubbers club, isn't it? Everyone says to me, if you want the true clubbing experience. So when you come over to Ibiza, that's what we'll do. We'll go for a night at Amnesia, obviously, VIP, and it's like the true clubbing experience. Whereas, do you think UNVRS is going to be VIP?
Well, based on the content that they've put out there so far, it would appear so. If you read the website, tickets for Fisher on a Thursday are €75. However, you can buy the €500 ticket, which gets you 5 free drinks and the VIP terrace overlooking Ibiza town. And again, I'm just reading that from the website.
Yeah.
So that would tell me that it will be predominantly VIP. If you're going to based on the two clubs that they have already with the Ushuaia and High, they're going to be going for that market, and the ticket price would guess that. But again, I haven't seen inside. I haven't, yourself, the UNVRS guys or the Night League kind of keep everything close to their chest until it's released. So
very clever guys.
It's just a guessing game.
Richie, question to you, Rich. Obviously, we've got this clubbing culture in Ibiza which keeps us alive. Love it or hate it, it's there. It's world class. It's every night. What do you have in Mallorca that brings people? I don't want you to say clubbing because obviously we've got this different thing. But what do you think separates Mallorca from Ibiza?
Well, we don't really have the clubbing culture. That is the big thing. We have obviously BCM, which is the big club in Magaluf. There's a new place opened at the other side of the airport called Amok, who are looking, as far as I'm hearing, to put on some big DJs. I've heard James Hypert, for instance, is coming in August. That's one thing that's happening. But we don't really have that we've never really had that scene. I mean, I've been here 35 years. BCM was always the big super club that we had here. And they will have all those sort of artists that you've mentioned already today. But it's not really that scene that, do you know what I mean? You've got Palma, the capital, that really the big club got taken away. It was Tito's. He's now turned into Leo. He's now turned into Leo, of course. So it's not the same. And I'm surprised that somebody hasn't really taken the step, actually, or taken the leap and maybe trying it and see if it could work over here. But then if you've got it, because it's so close, a lot of people from here will go over there for the night. Do you know what I mean? And spend the night there and come back.
I've seen that many times, mate. I've been on the flight in the morning, they come back, they don't book a hotel, they come out, they have an all night and then go straight back. But
my question, can I ask a question about it? Because I'm not up to date with clubbing in Ibiza and everything else, but between sort of UNVRS, between Amnesia, Pasha, High, Ushuaia, is there enough people for the places that these places hold, if that makes sense?
Well, I mean, I think that's where I was kind of coming at with what when I first mentioned. It will be interesting to see. Is there enough people? You would suggest so, because it got to the point where I was put off going to more or less any club night. due to the overselling. It was very uncomfortable. Even going in there with a backstage band or whatever, it just got to the point where it was uncomfortably. It wasn't enjoyable for me, so I
But
didn't go as many
too busy,
times.
Dwayne.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
not afraid to say that, and I think every
yeah,
club would agree. And you can see in the comments from anyone that did attend the club, one of the biggest factors was I was too busy for us. So I
yeah,
think Universe will take a lot of that away because that's what Privilege was. But what's interesting is Privilege probably really only had the one or two big
yeah,
nights in
yeah,
its prime, and now Universe is going to have
yeah.
7 nights. It's that in that area as well, having 7 nights running, how's that going to affect traffic? I know they're going to do a bus because it says on the website from San Ann and from Playa and Bus, they're going to do a bus service. How does that, affect the taxi situation? As you know,
Well,
it's
we know
doing
the
it.
taxis is horrendous at the best of times, isn't it? So, I mean, they're going to have to really get organised. Just going back to what you said there, Richie. Funny enough, when I did my podcast with Judge Jules, the first thing he said to me is a good thing because it will dilute how busy the other clubs are. So that goes exactly in tandem with what Dwayne said there as well. Who's going to be the biggest loser this year in the club, or in your opinion, who's going to struggle the most? Should I say, Dwayne? Let me rephrase it. Out of the big clubs.
That's a question I don't really know because will it be the likes of S Paradise and Eden? But then again, they have the town and Eden seem to have some pretty strong lineups. It's just your Calvin Harris is going to take. I think the towns are going to suffer because Fridays in San Antonio was next to
Yeah,
quiet because Calvin Harris would take everyone, and
yeah.
now Calvin's doing 2 shows. Will that dilute the Friday show, or will just mass more people want to go to Calvin Harris on both Tuesday and Friday? So will that have a knock-on effect to San Antonio as a whole? Because
Sorry. Calvin Harris is doing what Tuesdays and Fridays at Ushuaia.
at Ushuaia, yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it's interesting to see because you could base going whether it was just going into the Irish bar on a Friday, it'd be
Yeah.
empty up until
Yeah.
the problem was people couldn't get back quick enough. So although Ushuaia kicked out at 11, trying to get back into San Ann, you were talking 2 a.m., but then the pubs were shutting around 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So I know all the businesses, and even Wayne said on O Beach on Fridays was generally a quieter
Yeah.
day
Very
because of
quiet day.
the
Yeah.
likes of Calvin. So now that he's doing two shows per week, does it have a knock on? I don't think it'll have a knock on effect. I
Just
think it'll just be more people going.
just out of interest, Dwayne. I mean, you're the man in the know. How much would a big artist like Calvin Harris get paid, or David Guetta get paid for a night in Ushuaia or in High or in Universe? One of the big world famous, standout DJs. What do they charge
Well,
for a
I
night?
watched I watched a podcast recently with Danny Whittle. I think he said the most he had ever paid for David Guetta was in the region of 200,000.
Right.
Now the fees for the likes of Calvin and that must be double that at
Really.
least. I
What for
mean,
one night?
yeah, for one night, yeah.
Really.
Again, I don't know that
Yeah.
for sure, but it's just
Yeah.
something that everyone speaks
Let's
about.
speculate, boys. Let's speculate. So he's earning more than Kevin De Bruyne, then, is he? Calvin Harris.
Kevin De Bruyne's one of his main guests as well when they're
Is
over.
it?
But
Is it
yeah,
really?
you would imagine somebody of the caliber of David Guetta, Calvin Harris is probably getting above 400,000. But if they're on a deal for, let's say, 16 weeks, obviously that's not what they're probably getting, but who really knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but then if the likes of Calvin Harris, if he's playing on a Friday, at Ushuaia, he could be playing to 50,000 on his own show in Hamden on a Saturday,
Yeah.
and then off to Las Vegas on a Sunday.
Richie, you said that you've got a big Elro are doing Mallorca, aren't they?
Well, I think so. The big area, it's like a bit massive car park actually that's based out by near where my sons play football. Weirdly enough, it's a place called Sompuster, and it's where they have the big fair in April over the Easter period and everything else. And that's where they've held Elro in the past.
Yeah.
But the concession for the car park has been taken over by a company in Madrid. It used to be run by a company here called Trui, and it's now been taken over by a company in Madrid. And I'm not sure because nobody's really sort of been told yet exactly what's happening
Yeah.
at Sompuster. I'd be very surprised if Elro doesn't come because my understanding was there was the last one in September there was a massive crowd, somewhere between 10 and 15,000. I've been told.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
So I'm sure it is coming, but I haven't heard anything yet.
What's the perception from the Mallorca point of view about the clubbing industry in Ibiza? Do you just look down? I mean, I know Mallorca look down on Ibiza all the time anyway, but do you just kind of go, "That's their business; it's nothing to do with us. We'll concentrate on the big hotels and the big tourism industry in Mallorca, and we'll let Ibiza get on with the sex and drugs and rock and roll."
Yeah, I don't think we look down on you, Mark. I mean, I know you like to big yourself up every now and again, but it's I don't. I personally don't. I think it's horses for courses. You go to where you want to go. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we're lucky here that we've got obviously between the four islands between Mallorca, Menorca, Ibiza, and Formentera. There's so many different things from each island that each island has to offer. That it's very, very different, and so. And as I said to you earlier, look, people can just get on a plane. It's 20 minutes down. I mean, I did it the other week, didn't I? I did it the other week to go and see my son play football in Ibiza. So it's there if you want it. Do you know what I mean? If you don't want it, you don't go there. I think, look, I know that Ibiza obviously has like a worldwide sort of appeal, doesn't it? To the Americans, to the Saudis, to whoever. That's where they want to go because that's the clubbing capital. But I don't think really see Mallorca as something. It's just offering something completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. Dwayne, finally, what's your favourite club night?
Favourite club night? Probably, I'm going to go with the guys at the Kevin and Perry event. Do you know what it is? Amnesia for me is the sort of only club left that hasn't really. I don't want to say it hasn't changed because it's quite rude to the guys at Amnesia, but it's that feeling of going in and having those memories of when I first went to Ibiza, and that exists when I go to Amnesia. Going to the Kevin and Perry event with your Seb Fontaines, your Tall Paul, Judge Jules, and whoever else, that was me, and it's just a real.
It's very age appropriate, isn't it? It's an older crowd, isn't it? In there, so it's in September. Is it September? Isn't it? Middle of September.
It's in September, and I think that's probably mine. And then again, showing my age maybe, but Clockwork.
Yeah,
that week. There's something different, and I think. When I first came over to Ibiza in 2008, and then obviously I stayed from 2010, I remember the older generation saying to me, "Oh, you should have been here 10 years ago." And now I see myself saying that to young people because they're coming back and they've had the time of their life. And I'm going, "No, it was too busy." I was it must have been shit. And they're like, "No, it was the most amazing night." And then I'm like, "You should have been here 10 years ago." So it's always going to change. I think, I'll always have a bit of a rant, but for me, it's interesting to see, like, even just the other day, I stayed in Salinas in a hotel and went out for food in Satrinxa, and the amount of money me and my missus spent in just one day, and I thought, it made me think, how much are people spending on a daily basis?
So, can I just butt in? Out of the sort of the big clubs, who do you think is going to come out winning out of this?
Well, I think UNVRS, that group essentially. Amnesia will surprise a lot of people definitely this year. And Pasha's always going to be successful purely based on where it is. Obviously, the marketing power that's behind UNVRS, High, Ushuaia, the Night League, they have mass amounts of staff. They're working all year round, so it's no matter what, it's going to be success.
And Dwayne, if you were to say to anybody who doesn't know anything about the club, what's the one night to keep an eye on because you think it's going to be really successful? Not in the club. What is the night that you think to keep an eye on this year?
I would say going with Resistance at Amnesia.
Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting.
I think so, but then you have to look at the power behind that as well. It's Ultra Miami. It's not just a random night. I think that's going to be that'll be my favorite sort of.
And who do you think might be challenging Summer for what night? Put you on the spot.
Honest opinion, I don't know.
Because there's going to be some winners and losers, isn't there?
There always is, but I'm just really keen to see how UNVRS affects the nights at High.
Yeah, I think that's the big dynamic that we're looking at. So Dwayne, before you go, just let us know.
I do not think High will struggle. But...
No, Dwayne, before you go, just tell all the listeners and the watchers how they can find you, where you are.
I'm on YouTube as Dwayne Muffin and on all other social channels as the same.
So at Dwayne Muffin, yeah?
At Dwayne Muffin, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube videos, I'll be back on them more. They're more sort of chill vibes, day in the life sort of stuff.
The one thing that the three of us have got in common is football, isn't it? Because you're a big Celtic fan.
Huge, yeah. So I think that's all wrapped up.
Oh, no, it's gone, mate. It's gone. It's done and dusted.
That was wrapped up in August. Don't worry about that.
The 30 seconds of being 30 seconds of being champions, and then that last minute goal.
Do you know what? And what do you think to your season, the Champions League?
Overall, happy with it. It was a progression. Didn't expect to get as many points as we did, but the first game was an absolute stinker, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But you came out well at the end, though, didn't you?
Yeah, no, happy with that. Thought the Aston Villa harsh to go down 2 goals in the first few minutes, and then
cracking game.
It was a cracking game. I don't think we had many bad games apart from the Borussia Dortmund one.
And seeing as Richie's got a big night tomorrow night, what's your prediction for the Madrid versus Arsenal match?
I didn't want to butt in, but I had the same conversation as you, Shaggy. I said to the boys this morning in Melbourne when we were having a coffee, I said, if Madrid get an early goal, and then I actually checked the odds on 4-0 Madrid. I'm not going to lie. It was only 12-1, I think. I was like, it's not worth it.
But Richie, are you worried?
Mark, I'm a glass half full type of man. So, but yes, of course I'm worried. Blimey, it wouldn't be, but at the end of the day, listen, we haven't conceded 2 or more goals for a very, very long time. It's going to have to be an exceptional performance from them to get, 3 at least, and obviously to go through either on penalties or whatever. But I can see us scoring. That's the only other thing.
No, if you score, it's job done, mate. Because they won't score 5.
They're not good. They're not good defensively. So, well, pray for me, Mark, because I'm going to be there, and it's cost me a lot of money.
Good lad.
I don't want to lose.
Have you been to the Bernabeu before?
I have many moons ago. I actually went the last time we won there. We won 1-0 with a goal from Henri, which is way back about 2006, I think it was.
This is the new Bernabeu. Yeah, it'll have the roof on as well, mate. It'll be electric. I was lucky enough to be there a couple of months ago for the Man City game, and it's electric. Get down to.
Mark, we're behind the goal. We're behind the goal above the ultras. Everybody's wearing white except 3 English lads that will be sat with them.
Rich, before you go, tell me about John Bishop, because he was in Mallorca, wasn't he?
Yeah, John Bishop was here on last Friday doing a concert in the Palma Auditorium. Went very well, and I was pleasantly surprised by actually the gig itself, because didn't really know what to expect. John's a storytelling comic. He's not a gag-telling comic, but he put it together very, very well, very clever. What surprised me was I bumped into a good mutual friend of ours called Simon in Menorca. He'd basically flown over for the weekend to come and see John Bishop, and he said there was another 30, 40 people that had actually come over as well. And I wasn't sure whether anybody in Ibiza had done the same. But you told me, and obviously a few of your friends in the UK.
A few friends had gone over, but a couple of Scouts friends of mine have flown over for it as well. But it looked good. Looked a good thing. I mean, how did you get John Bishop in Mallorca? I mean, because it's quite a bit of a coup, that. It's very British as well, isn't it?
Well, yeah, no, John's got a place here. So
that explains it.
And he's never really wanted. He said, I've never really wanted to do a gig here. He said, I've been asked many times. He said, because I just wanted to keep it separate. But he said he got a message from Jimmy Carr. Jimmy Carr was here last September, and he said you should try this theatre. This theatre's pretty good. So let's see if we can sell it. And they did very well.
Fantastic.
Well. And
fantastic.
Yeah, he had a good night.
Fantastic.
Good night.
Well, boys, thanks a lot, Dwayne. Special thanks to you for coming on today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. No worries, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hopefully, see you in Ibiza, or maybe we're at Mallorca. I do want to get out there.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you're more than welcome.
Take care.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
See you soon. Cheers.
Make me dance.